Michelin says tires eat up about 5% of the energy a gas car produces. In an EV, that number jumps to 16%. Same road, same rubber, 3 times the cost. That single number is the entire reason this video exists. Most people think a tire is just a tire, but electric vehicles place completely different demands on tires than the gas car you probably drove before this one. An EV is hundreds of pounds heavier than the equivalent gas car. Because of the battery pack sitting under the floor, the motor also delivers full torque the instant you touch the pedal, with no gear change to soften that hit, and with no engine running to cover for it. The cabin is quiet enough that every hum, thump, and vibration the tire produces suddenly has nowhere to hide. Weight, torque, and silence. Those 3 things are why a tire that works perfectly fine on a Corolla can be the wrong choice on a Model 3, an Ioniq 5, or a Cybertruck, even if the size printed on the sidewall is exactly the same. Choosing the wrong one can affect your range, your safety, your comfort, and even how long the tire itself lasts before you're back at the shop paying for another set. So let's go through the 5 tires you should probably avoid putting on your EV, counting down from the mistake that's merely annoying to the one that's actually dangerous. Number 5. Cheap, no-name budget tires. The bargain bin is always tempting. A no-name set can run half the price of a known brand, and on paper the size fits, so what's the harm? Saving money up front often leads to problems you don't notice until it's too late. Wet grip tends to be the first thing that suffers, because a cheaper compound simply doesn't hold the road the same way once water gets involved. Road noise goes up too, and on an EV, that noise has nowhere to hide behind an engine. So it becomes the loudest thing in the cabin, almost immediately. The tread also tends to wear down faster than advertised, and the tire's rolling resistance runs higher than a properly engineered one, which quietly eats into your range every time you drive. Budget tires are usually built from a cheaper rubber compound, and that compound is where almost every downside on this list starts. It doesn't flex the same way in the rain. It doesn't dissipate heat the same way under load. And because there's no engine to mask the sound it produces, the extra road noise becomes something you notice on every single drive, not just the occasional pothole. They may cost less today, but they cost much more over time. Once you add up the range you're losing, the noise you're putting up with, and the earlier trip back to the tire shop, and that trip back tends to arrive sooner than you think, because a softer, cheaper compound simply can't handle the combination of extra weight and instant torque an EV throws at it every time you pull away from a stop. Number 4. Ultra-high performance summer tires. Now we swing in the opposite extreme. These are the tires enthusiasts drool over, the ones that look incredible on a spec sheet and even better in photos. The Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 or Pirelli P0 Trofeo RS. These are genuinely fantastic tires on a track. The problem is, they're built with soft, sticky compounds designed to generate maximum grip through a hot lap. And that same softness is exactly what hurts you on a daily commute. Soft rubber means higher rolling resistance, which drains your battery faster than almost any other tire on this list. It also means the tread wears down in a fraction of the mileage a normal tire would give you, sometimes in a matter of months rather than years. And most of these compounds go hard and lose grip the moment the temperature drops, which becomes a real safety concern if you live anywhere that actually gets a proper winter. So yes, they're completely unnecessary for most EV owners, and in daily use, they end up worse for efficiency, worse for range, and worse for everyday comfort than a tire that costs far less, unless you're actually taking your EV to a track on a regular basis. You're paying a real efficiency penalty every single time you drive, just to have grip capability you'll almost never use to its full potential. Number 3. Aggressive all-terrain tires. Examples here would be something like the BF Goodrich All-Terrain KO2 or the Toyo Open Country AT3. These tires look great, especially on an electric SUV or a truck, with that chunky, aggressive tread pattern that screams capability. And to be fair, that tread pattern does work if you're actually driving through mud, gravel, or loose terrain. But that same aggressive design generates far more rolling resistance on regular pavement than a street tire, because it's built to dig into loose ground, not roll smoothly across asphalt. It also creates a constant low hum at highway speed, from the tread blocks slapping the road with every single rotation, and in an EV, that noise isn't buried under engine sound, the way it would be in a gas truck. It's simply the main thing you hear, mile after mile. So while they increase rolling resistance and reduce your driving range, They also create significantly more road noise on most electric SUVs. And if you're genuinely taking that vehicle off-road on a regular basis, you're paying that penalty every single day for a capability you're not using. It's the classic case of a tire built to solve a problem you don't actually have, while quietly creating 3 new ones you didn't ask for. If you're finding these useful so far, this is a good moment to hit subscribe, because the next 2 mistakes on this list are the ones that actually affect your safety, not just your range or your comfort. Number 2. Old tire designs without EV technology. This one is less about a specific tire and more about buying blind, which is honestly the easiest mistake to make. Many older tire models were never designed with instant EV torque in mind. They were never designed to carry the weight of a heavy battery pack, and they were never designed around regenerative braking either. Tire engineering has moved fast over the last several years, specifically because EVs created new problems for tire makers to solve that simply didn't exist before. Regenerative braking puts constant repeated stress on a tire in a way a traditional friction-only braking system never did. Instant torque means the tire has to handle full power from a dead stop rather than a gradual buildup through an engine's RPM range. A tire designed before this shift simply wasn't engineered around any of it, even if the size and speed rating technically fit your car when you check it against the sidewall. The result is that these older designs often wear faster and reduce efficiency compared to newer EV-specific options, even when everything else about the fitment looks correct on paper, and because the tire looks identical to what you'd put on a gas car of the same size. This is the mistake that's easiest to make without ever realizing you made it, right up until the tread appears far sooner than the mileage warranty suggested it should. Number 1. Tires with low load ratings. This may be the biggest mistake of all, and it's one that actually crosses from inconvenience into danger. Electric vehicles are significantly heavier than comparable gasoline cars. A Tesla Cybertruck, for example, weighs in at around 3,100 kilograms once you account for the battery pack, and even smaller EVs typically carry a few hundred extra pounds compared to their gas equivalents. That extra mass has to be carried entirely by 4 contact patches roughly the size of your hand pressed against the road. Installing tires with an insufficient load rating can negatively affect your handling, your braking distance, and your long-term safety, and none of these things you want to discover the hard way at speed and traffic. A tire's load index tells you the maximum weight it's rated to carry safely. Undershoot that number even by what seems like a small margin, and the tire flexes more than it should with every single rotation. More flex generates more heat building up inside the tire, and heat is what eventually leads to structural failure, the kind that causes a blowout rather than just faster wear. This is exactly why manufacturers fit stronger reinforced tires, often labeled XL, onto EVs in the first place. It isn't a marketing label stuck on for looks. It's the one spec on this entire list you genuinely cannot compromise on. So, before you buy anything, always check the manufacturer's recommended specifications, because that number exists for a reason, and it's not one you'll want to test yourself. A tire can look perfectly fine on the outside right up until the moment its structure gives out under a load it was never rated to carry. And by then, you're not dealing with a maintenance bill. You're dealing with an emergency on the shoulder of a highway. What should you buy instead? So if those 5 are off the table, what's actually left? Modern EVs focus on low rolling resistance to protect your range and quiet operation. Hence, the cabin stays as calm as the drivetrain intended, with stronger construction that can actually handle the weight and torque an EV produces, meaningfully improved efficiency, and a longer lifespan than the mistakes we just went through. These tires use compounds engineered to strike a balance most people don't expect is even possible. Enough grip to stay safe in the wet without the rolling resistance that quietly eats away your range every single drive. Many now include a foam layer bonded to the inside of the tire, purpose-built to quiet the cavity resonance that would otherwise carry straight into your cabin through the wheel and suspension. And the casing itself is reinforced from the ground up to handle the weight and torque an EV puts through it every day, rather than being adapted after the fact from a design built for a gas car. The ride tire can noticeably improve your entire ownership experience in ways that go well beyond just the price tag on the box. It shows up every time you glance at the range estimate, and it's higher than you expected. Every time the cabin stays quiet at high speed, and every time you brake hard in the rain, and the car simply does what you asked it to do. At the end of the day, a tire is the only part of your EV that actually touches the road. Every kilometer of range your battery promises you, every bit of quiet your cabin was engineered for, and every bit of grip that keeps you safe in the rain. All of it runs through 4 small contact patches. Skip the 5 mistakes on this list and put your money toward the right tire that actually pays you back over the life of your car. It's a simple line item compared to the price of the car itself, but it's the only one that quietly decides how far your range estimate can be trusted, how calm your daily commute actually feels, and how safely the whole thing stops when it needs to. If this saved you from making one of these 5 mistakes, let me know which one surprised you most in the comments. And subscribe for more EV ownership videos like this one. There's more coming on what exactly to look for when you're standing in a tire shop deciding. So stick around for that.